Okay, so today I am speaking with Abena Sey. She lives out in Fort McMurray and she is, like me, an educator and an entrepreneur. I am so excited to be speaking to you today, Abena. Welcome. How are
Thank
you?
you. Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. How has the summer been?
The summer has been amazing. We can get into details about it later, but just so fulfilling on many levels.
That's good. I hope you got some rest because school is starting up again soon.
It is, it's starting. I
So
don't know if I know what rest means. I did have some downtime.
okay, well, that's good. That's important. So now, school is starting up for you when? Next week?
Yes, so teachers return on Monday in my school division, and then children come the week after. So we start before Labor Day.
Okay. How are you feeling about that? Are you
I
having
think I'm
jitters?
used
Are
to
you
it.
okay?
Oh, I thought you meant how do I feel about starting before Labor Day? That's a debate.
Oh, do you want to get into that debate? How do you feel about starting before Labor Day?
But right up until this point, I felt amazing.
Hmm.
I like what I do. I teach French immersion kindergarten, and it's just something special. I remember the first year I taught kindergarten, I said, I need to get out of here. Those children, it was going back to day one because I previously I had taught grade 3 French immersion, and then prior to that it was grades 9 to 12. So just talk about coming full circle and understanding how a child begins as a student, and help raising them and helping them be able to navigate their K to 12 experience.
Hmm.
And yeah, they're babies. They come in, they are literal babies. They need help with everything. But I'm going into year 4. Last year was my best year, even through the pandemic. I did both. I did in-person teaching year 2 of the pandemic, and then virtual teaching spring of 2020 when everything shut down.
Hmm.
And I just kept getting better and better and loving it, loving what I do and understanding my very important role as a kindergarten teacher.
Excellent. So now you're going back and you're going in person, right? Everything's going to be in person now.
Yes, in person.
How do you feel about that? Do you prefer in person or online?
Absolutely.
You prefer in person.
Absolutely. I love being in person because with kindergarten, it's very hands on.
Hmm.
It's play based. I really do believe in learning through play. I'm a rigorous teacher as well. So I do have the academic objectives to work towards to help the students,
Right.
become readers and to become literate in numbers. But those social emotional skills, they need to be together and learning to solve problems, over simple things like sharing the toys. There's a limited amount of toys, and how do we solve that problem? Learning patience. How do I wait for my turn? Or friendship. That one's a huge one with
Mhm.
kindergarten. How do I invite myself to play? And how do I navigate not being able to play at that time when other children are not ready for me, or not being in control of the game, right? So there's just a lot of important skills that can be learned in the classroom together. But I love teaching virtually as well. And there is a big difference. There is a big difference in my style when I'm online versus in class. I think I'm the same person, the same. I believe they would perceive me as that same bubbly teacher. But when you're online, you've got to take it to a level 10 to hold their little attention spans. But yeah,
Okay.
I am happy to be in person.
You sound so passionate about what you do. I wish I could be in your class.
Oh, thank you. You
You
love
make me want to be
it.
you make me want to be a kindergartner again. That's so
You would
amazing.
absolutely love it.
Okay. So tell me now that everything this is post pandemic, we're going back to the classroom. What are you feeling about that? What are your thoughts about that? Have you had an opportunity to kind of gauge how parents are feeling? about having their children back in the classroom post-pandemic? Are they comfortable with this? What are your thoughts on this right now?
I'm so glad you mentioned parents. As a kindergarten teacher, I rely on my parents. I rely on them to help set their children up for success for me, right? I've been so blessed. I say it all the time. I have the best parents. They believe in me, they trust me, they know that I care about their child, and whatever I request, they give it to me. Because if they're not there to, simple things like, okay, today's the color red day, or have your child wear a red T-shirt. So that participation, right? If the parent is providing that participation, giving me what I need, their child feels included, their child feels ready to learn. So I'm not dealing with the extra challenges that come when a child isn't prepared. So I am so thankful. I think that being in Alberta, I think that there, because we ended restrictions earlier, I think there was a little more time to get used to, a different way of navigating the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's just been respect and support throughout. I haven't had any challenges. And then I've been mindful too of respecting people's wishes as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I think everyone did the best that they could under these very trying circumstances. And I knew that I had to have the perspective that I may not be able to control people's attitudes, but I control what happens in my classroom. And I could have certain safety protocols and measures in place. Yeah. So, and then I think I have the advantage that many of the children, that's their first time being in school. Unless they did preschool, my school does offer a preschool program. So
Okay.
unless they were in preschool, this was their first time understanding what school meant. What did it feel like, look like, sound like? And I think it's easier to help a child get used to following protocol
Mm-hmm.
when they're younger, they're more trainable, and understanding. And then I just put systems in place, bring it down to their level to have that understanding of why we're doing the things that we do, but always respecting the child and their parent.
That is very interesting. You talk about something that I have spoken of in the past, and it's about respecting the children. Some people may find that a strange saying, but talk to me about respecting the children. I believe it's very important. Now tell me how, like, what does it look like when you're respecting a child? Why do you think it's important? And what do you think the benefits are for doing that as a teacher?
I love that question. I think that in respecting the child, you're teaching them to set appropriate boundaries because at that age, they it's the beginning. They're used to being in their home and in a private space. But like I said, teaching kindergarten, you have to really help them understand what does it mean to be in a public space? What is your body? And why should your body be respected? Why should you respect other bodies? Because they don't get it. Even things like you can't just give someone a hug, you need to ask, right? So that's teaching them, this is my body needs to be respected. I can have boundaries. It's okay. I don't have to be free and open to everyone. And I think that's so important because guess what? It'll help them when they're older to set appropriate boundaries. And how many adults have had issues with setting boundaries, right?
Very
Yeah,
true.
it's
Very.
hard. It's
They
hard.
learn
Yeah.
to do that. The first place they should learn to do that is at home.
Yes.
And I know that we don't live in a perfect world. And sometimes maybe the parents themselves don't know how to facilitate that type of learning at home. And so, it's important to have teachers like you who also help to guide them along that way. Now, teachers aren't parents. They're not parenting other people's children, but they're there as a guide, not just to feed the mind about the particular subject matter, but it's also a guide guiding them into life skills, et cetera, as well. So I'm so happy that, you brought up that point about respecting the child. I find that to be so important as well, and very important to teach them those lessons that you're teaching them. Now, when it comes to this post-pandemic going back to school, do you think there will be, are you sensing that there's going to be a difference in the way things are done going forward than the way they were before? Do you find that there has been a change in the way things were done prior to COVID? Is it a new normal that you're going into, or are things pretty much the same? What do you think?
I think that there are varying degrees. I feel that there are varying sentiments about it, because people weren't on the same page about how to approach the pandemic and managing restrictions and protocols, and navigating mental health, right? So I feel like people are going to have their reactions and responses. I feel they're going to manage the best way that they can. But I feel that, as a teacher, what I can do is understand my zone of control, things that I can do to protect my mental health, so that I can be the best that I can be for my students and for my family. And understanding that my little classroom, I can control what happens there, and I can manage. What's the expression? Is it being a thermostat instead of the temperature, right? Like being a thermostat for the room.
Mm-hmm.
I have the power to ensure that my students feel comfortable and safe, that my parents feel and can trust me, that I'm doing the best that I can with the information that I have under the authority of my school division, right? And of our health, our provincial health authority.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with what's right, what's out there, and just show love, and definitely respecting my parents and my students. So it's, that respect piece is important. It's not just for the child, but for the parents too, because I get it. I'm a parent as well, and I care about my child, so I understand my
Mm-hmm.
children too.
Yeah, and that is so important, right? It is a collaboration between the teacher and the parents, right? I believe the old adage that it takes a village to raise a child, I think it's still very relevant today. It may be done differently than it was done in the past, but it's still very relevant, and I think probably even more so relevant today with some of the different challenges and dynamics that we have to deal with in the current world. So it takes teachers and students working together, especially at the age of the children that you're teaching. Otherwise, it could be so disjointed because you're teaching one thing at school and they go home and they hear something completely different, and it just confuses their minds. So when parents and teachers are working together, I think that it's really paving a smooth path for the child to go into. So I really like your process, the way you teach. Now, you talked about teaching online and offline, and were there opportunities during the pandemic for you to take your teaching a little bit outside of the classroom online, or did you just stick with classroom teaching? What did you do with it?
With my pandemic experience, pandemic teaching. Well, it was it was a time for growth and development for me as a teacher. I had just finished my online master's degree. I had just finished that, and I had just learned how to navigate being a student online, dealing with the communication, collaborating with colleagues virtually, conferring with my professors virtually. So I had just gone through that process. And then here I am. Now I'm on the other side of the computer. I'm the one who's giving lessons. And unlike my graduate degree where we were professionals, I'm dealing with little children. So kindergarten. So I'm working with the understanding that they're younger, their attention spans are shorter, and I'm relying on the parents. I'm relying on their parents to get them set up on their computers and to manage my communication, right? So I had to ensure that my communication was clear, concise, and always empathetic, right? Just because the parents were navigating, some of them working from home, or if they were first responders, or, them managing their hectic schedules and a pandemic, and their children are at home, and all the uncertainties and worries that came with the pandemic. So being mindful of that. So I learned to make sure that my instruction was asynchronous. So, it gave flexibility to the parents, because I appreciated my degree. It was flexible because we were
Yeah.
all working professionals. So we needed to create a schedule that worked for us. So I wanted the parents to have that freedom as well and flexibility, because I wanted participation. I wanted my students, to get the most instruction that they could in this very difficult time, this very new, weird teaching and
Yeah.
learning experience for
So
them.
how did you do that? Did you do that through writing specific material for the parents? Do you have a platform that you posted it on? How did you handle that?
Yes, I became a YouTuber. So
Ah,
I
tell us
posted,
about that.
yeah, it was amazing. So in kindergarten, we have this sacred tradition of having circle time. So I did my French circle time videos on YouTube, and it was a chance for me to continue the traditions we had in the classroom. If you watch my videos, I am talking directly to the child. I'm saying, I love you, give your parents a hug. I'm bringing myself. That was me in the classroom, still is. I am still that way, and bringing it online just so the students had that familiarity.
Mhm.
The pandemic happened when it did in March. So that was 7 months of them getting to know me and understanding my style and how we do things in the classroom. So that wasn't too much of a shock. It was so cute. Parents sent me pictures or videos of their child interacting. It's like I was a real person to them, like physically there, and them saying I love you back to me.
Oh, that is so sweet. That is
Awesome.
so nice.
Yeah. So my channel is called French Kinder TV. So French Kinder and TV. And I have all kinds of lessons. Anyone who's interested in learning beginner French, beginning reading strategies in French, numeracy, lots of vocabulary content. And I also did some story time content. So I got my husband to help me with that. He's the genius behind that, just
Oh,
animating
very nice.
lessons. Yeah. And singing. It's just really fun platform. So I'll definitely put that in the chat when I get a chance.
Okay. Now you
French
did
can
that. I'm sorry. You did that for the students. What did you do for the parents?
Yes. So the videos were for the students, but guess what? Some of the parents were learning French too. Right? Because they would sit with the child, or maybe they'd be off to the side doing their own thing, maybe washing dishes or folding laundry, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're listening to me. I got this really beautiful feedback. A parent said that she just loved hearing my voice in the home. So that
Okay.
was really awesome. Again, like I mentioned, the pandemic happened when it did, but it got the students had a chance to get to know their teacher, because at that age, I find that young children, they do fall in love with you quickly, they
Mhm.
trust quickly. But here we are. This is different. This is learning in a different way. So it was nice for them to be familiar with my voice and my style and how we do things. But yeah, so I
Excellent.
think that helped the parents. A lot of parents said, wow, I didn't know there was so much French going on in the classroom.
Well, that's good. So
So
it gave them a
yeah,
front row seat as to what their children are learning, right? When they're not around, gave them
absolutely.
that opportunity. Now, do you think that I know I'm speaking as a business owner because I see ways to monetize everything. Are you
Yes, I
ever
love that.
going to try to monetize that YouTube channel, or you know, do you see any entrepreneurial opportunities there at all?
Absolutely. Well, yay! I finally got to my first 1,000 subscribers. It only
Oh,
took
that's
3 years.
amazing. I am still trying to grow my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You're going to have to teach me how to do that.
It took forever, patience, consistency, but I'm not monetized yet. I don't have the watch hours, but the way that I see it is it's a marketing tool.
Hmm.
First of all, I'm giving beautiful content. Anyone who watches it, they will pick up French. They will. So it's free content. People all over the world, like I look at my analytics, people all over the world are watching the videos and benefiting. And then I have a virtual school program. So from that, one day I was washing dishes and just brainstorming, and then boom, I came up with virtual Saturday French school. So that started in 2021. So it was 2020, the end of the year, when I was just brainstorming because I had an amazing time creating lessons for my students. And then I thought of how do I continue this? And it came to me. So I work with students in grades, kindergarten, preschool, actually, preschool to grade 6. I've got 2 programs. I've got my virtual Saturday French school program, and that is designed to help French immersion students. And my Sunday French club is designed to help preschool to grade 2 beginner French students. So it's so much fun. I've been able to grow and become creative in how to appeal to young children online. And it's fun, it's high energy. I get a workout from those lessons. It's amazing. So the YouTube is a marketing tool, so parents can check it out. If you don't know me, I go by Madame Sey. And if you don't know who Madame Sey is, who is this lady, you can check out my YouTube videos and get a taste of what my teaching style is. And, and then I also use it I do some advertisements, just videos that my husband helps me to create, just to let people know about the programs and what's available. And it's amazing because I could work with children all over the world. I've worked with a student in Colombia. That was awesome. The majority of my students are from Canada, and they are French immersion students.
Sounds great to me. Now, this virtual school that you created, is it a business, or are you doing this again is it like a hobby, or is it a business?
It's definitely a business, and it's a passion project because I love all things literacy. I am obsessed with it. I am following the latest trends in literacy and numeracy. I I do professional development every day. I'm learning how to be the best teacher I can be and how to appeal to young children, how to help them achieve their reading goals, reading and writing and speaking in French, those goals. And of course, those skills are transferable to teaching in English. The principles
Absolutely.
are the same.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's helped me be the best teacher that I can be, and it's just been so much fun. The children love it, the parents are excited, so I'm grateful. So it's not for free. The program's not for free, but it's affordable. I believe in keeping things affordable because it makes sense. I want to get the most reach that I can.
Okay. So listen, I am sitting here and I am smiling. I'm smiling so broad because I'm all about finding ways to serve people with your gifts and your talents, and making a living from that, right? For me, that's
Yeah.
purpose. That's me using my talents and my abilities purposefully. Instead, a lot of people, we have our gifts and talents, but we do nothing with them. And we're
Mhm.
busy building somebody else's empire. But
Yeah.
how about looking at what we have? What's in my house? What do I have? and using that to build my own empire, and at the same time serving other people and helping to make their lives better. So I'm smiling because you've done that with your vocation of education, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. And I like that you are reaching students in other parts of the world. What was it
Yes.
like teaching that student from Colombia? Is it Colombia?
It was Colombia. It
Yeah,
was
what was that like?
amazing. It was amazing. And it helped me understand that it doesn't matter where you are. Parents want the same thing. We want the same thing. We want the best for our children. We will do whatever we can do to give them opportunities and exposures, right? Because we want them to be better off than we
Mm-hmm.
were, right? That's the goal. So that was absolutely amazing. And it was nice to see her transfer her skills in Spanish. And her mom was an English teacher, and so she really appreciated my style as a teacher. Um,
That's great.
but yeah, it was great. And, one tip when you're teaching online, teaching young children, their names are so important to them. Because if you think about it, they're just on a little box, right? And you, as the teacher, you're on a little box, and they'll see their colleagues on a little box, but they want to feel that like you recognize them, that they're important to you. You recognize them, they're important, and you can see them, right? Because it just feels a need for them, especially at that young age. So it
Right.
was just really calling on students, making sure everyone's included and recognized. I'll say things like, "Did I miss anybody? Did everyone get a turn? Thumbs up?" That kind of thing. That call and response. So
Yes.
yeah,
No,
yeah, and the smiles on their faces.
yes, like
Valuable.
it is important. It is important because even as a college professor, I do the same thing with my students. Sometimes they are coming into the classroom online and they're doing it from their cell phone. So all I'm seeing is a cell phone number. And I say to them, you're going to have to change that so I can see your name. I need to be able to address you by your name, right? So I can't necessarily call you 905-215-5050. That sounds like something from a dystopian, Orwellian
Yeah.
future. We're not dealing with you on that level in this classroom. In this classroom, you're still a person, and I need to know who you are. So put your name on the bottom. So that is so important, right? You said it. It's very important because we're all those little boxes on that screen.
Yep.
So we want to know who it is behind those little boxes. So that was fantastic. I applaud you on doing that and turning that into a business. One of my girlfriends told me about 2, 3 weeks ago, she goes, "Do you ever not think about business? Does everything I say have to be turned into a..." Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Turn it all, monetize it all. Why not? It's not that you're money hungry, but why shouldn't you monetize your talents, right? Why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't
Yeah,
you?
absolutely.
And that's exactly it. Now, I want to bring it back a little bit to where we started, and we're going back into the classroom. Well, I still
Mhm.
have like about another month off, so I don't envision
Nice.
going back next week. But that's because my most recent semester only ended last week, so I'm off.
Oh, wow. Yep.
Yes, so I was literally teaching up until last week for the summer. And
Wow.
yeah, these children, they're hungry for knowledge. They don't want to take
That's
time off,
awesome.
but that's good. That's very, very good, I think. So going back into the classroom, um, do you think, I'm asking because, I keep my eyes on what's going on social media, on Twitter, LinkedIn, and what people are still saying about this global pandemic that we all just navigated, and where some places are still phasing out of it slowly. um,
Yes.
do you think that your parents are comfortable enough? Do you think there will be, I mean, you can't speak for people, but have you seen or any reason to think that there may be any paranoia? And if you experience it, how do you think yourself or the school will deal with that?
Yes, definitely. Like you said, you can look at social media, and people are very transparent in their feelings. I know that teachers They have their feelings, their anxieties and worries too,
Mm-hmm.
and then new things are coming up, right? Like
Yeah.
new strange diseases and this, are we in a recession, are we not, what's going on? So there's so many political issues. I think the most important thing is to be mindful, like not to be ignorant that people will have certain feelings and trepidations. Yes, parents will have their feelings as well, but I find that the parents who do have these worries, they're going to prepare their child. I know
Mm-hmm.
I would. They'll pack extra sanitizer. They'll communicate with the teacher. I think being proactive is so important. So if the worries are there, just communicate. Let the teacher know.
Mm-hmm.
Communicate with your child. You don't have to hide anything. You can, if your child wants to wear a mask to school, absolutely. We have a choice, and no one should be criticized for their choice. So I think doing the front loading at home, doing that work at home, and then just communicating is going to help so much. And then understanding that people are people, everyone's going to have their own feelings and responses, and just navigating your response is important. So I know that's what I'm going to do. I
Okay.
know that for my peace of mind, my health, and my safety, there are great protocols that I think should be maintained. I think people are understanding, you know what, maybe we weren't as sanitary as as we thought. Maybe there are some things that we can do, to minimize the germs. So yeah, that's going to be my
Okay.
attitude. And understanding my colleagues to being respectful of them, because I would want that same respect as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What are you most looking forward to for the new school term?
Ooh, I am most looking forward to seeing more growth in my students. Have you heard of Baruti Kafele, Principal Kafele? Have you heard of him?
No, I don't think so.
He's an amazing thought leader on education. I learned about him through Twitter, but he has this amazing virtual assistant principal leadership academy, and it's just on YouTube. He drops amazing content each week to help people navigate the classroom and leadership, and helping teacher leaders eventually achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm.
um, you know so I mentioned that I learned that we just have to be mindful of our times. Just be mindful, educate ourselves as best that we can, but we are in control, and thank goodness for technology. Like, nothing's hidden. If we want to learn, if we want to feel empowered, the information is there. We just have to look for it.
Excellent.
Yep.
Wonderful.
And
Now, I
yeah,
think
I'm just
those
I'm
were, I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, so this one talk I learned about, he had a guest speaker, and her name is Robin Smith. She's another thought leader in education. So she was talking about, for leadership development in the school, so targeting principals and their school plans, how to make these plans more effective. She talked about doing an overall, like looking at your school and just looking at the data and pinpointing what needs to be worked on within 90 days, as opposed to a global year plan, right? Being more focused and intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do that. I said, you know what, I'm not a school leader. I consider myself a teacher leader, but I don't have that official title as vice principal or principal. But why not do that in my classroom? Why not look at the data and set a goal and work towards that goal, and seeing growth in my students, seeing growth in myself as a teacher, and what could I do in the classroom? And she spoke a lot about achieving 100% of standards. Like, some people are content with 65% and then like 5% increments. And she said, why not have the goal of 100%? So, I think that's great to aspire to. But just thinking on that level in the classroom, what what things can I put in place to help children achieve their goals? And that could be literacy, numeracy, and social emotional, which is so important and heightened because of the pandemic. That's
Mhm.
whole social emotional piece and
Right.
navigating mental health. Yeah. There we go. Sorry. Thank you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think that is it's a great thing. And you mentioned that. And something that I did in my classes last semester is that the very first class, I asked my students, what are you hoping to gain from taking this course? What
Mhm.
does success in this course look like for you? And what would failure in the course look like for you outside of your grades? Yes, we know
Mhm.
grades are there, but what does your success in this course look like? What is it that you're expecting me as your instructor to do to say, okay, this course was worth it for me, regardless of whether your grade said you passed it or not? Did you get something out of it? So, you're setting those goals for you. That's how I set the goals for my classes last semester. And
Mhm.
it was very helpful for me as the instructor to have an idea of what my students were expecting of me, right? Sure, you come to school, there's a learning plan, there are certain, learning objectives you're going to teach toward that. But that's what I, as the professor, set. Students, what are your objectives for this course? Why are you taking it in the first place? And it was just a whole different mind shift for me to see what they said versus what I wrote in a learning plan. And then it
Mm.
was for me now to take that and somehow massage my learning plan into that to make sure that their vision of success was being met. So it's not just about me. My vision of success is to make sure all my students pass the course, right?
Yes.
But their vision of success is completely different from mine. So it again for me that I call that collaborative learning in my class, and allowing them to see that their voices are important, their perspectives in their own education is important to me. And so working with them along that line and making sure that we are hitting those targets that they're saying. And if we missed it, what is it that I can do to help you still accomplish that before the end of the semester? And if we can't, then what can I do better in the next semester as an instructor to make sure that my students are hitting that target? It is very important for those voices to be heard, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about diversity. And diversity, I find, is just, it's not only in the broad society or in the corporate structure. You can do that right in your classroom, right?
Mm.
It's not just about how people look, it's also about perspectives and
Mm.
voices. And I drill that into their minds every day. I want to hear your voice, right? Even if you're quiet or introverted, you have something to say, and you never know that what you say may be impactful to someone else in the classroom. So never downplay your own voice or your own worth. And
Absolutely.
I find that it works. Many of them are saying that we've never had that kind of instruction before. We've never had a professor like you before, right? Usually they just come, they teach, and they go. But you actually seem like you care about us. And that to me says something. I feel like I just stepped outside of the box and did something that was relevant for my students. So it is so important. And now, something else you said that I wanted to draw your attention to is that you're saying you're not a school leader, you're a class leader, but you're not a school leader because you don't have the title. The title, darling, does not make you the leader.
Right.
It's the actions you take and your ability to influence. That is what make you the leader. And from what I'm hearing, you're very much a leader.
Wow.
You
Thank
are
you. That means
very
a lot.
much a
Thank
leader.
you.
So you don't need a title to tell you that you're a leader. You're a leader naturally. And right in your classroom, in your home, as a mom and a wife, you're a leader. Okay, so this is something I do leadership development a lot too, and I hear people say, I never consider myself a leader. You're born a leader. For some people it comes naturally, other people they have to develop the skills over time. Every human being on earth has leadership abilities, right? For some people, it comes out naturally. For some, you have to go through a series of development for it to happen, but it's not the title that makes you a leader at all. The actions you take, your ability to influence, you're influencing your husband. You're giving what they call the honey-do list. Honey, this needs to be fixed. This, you're leading right there. Children, it's bath time, right? You're a leader right in your own home, right? You don't have to step foot outside your home to be a leader. You're a leader right there. So never think that you need a title to be a leader. You're already one. And as long as you are causing people to think differently, as long as you're shaping minds and lives in some way for the positive, because if you're shaping them for the negative, I don't call you a leader at all. You may be leading people, but not in the right direction. But yeah, and this is what I want people to understand. Titles don't make you leaders. Your ability to influence, and if you're, especially if you're doing it intentionally, to intentionally influence someone towards something greater, to become greater, to do something more than what they're doing right now. That is a leader. So measure yourself against that, and you can see that you're already a badass leader. So there you go.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. I think that's all my questions for you today. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to the discussion that you may think may be important for teachers or for parents to know?
Absolutely. Well, I'm a blogger. I can share my blog on my website. So it's www.seyeducation.com, just like my last name is spelled, SEY.
Mhm.
And I love to give tips to teachers and parents, tips on organization, readiness for school, readiness for learning, embracing ease, how to navigate school, but not be stressed out about it. Yeah. So if anyone would like to visit the website, take a look at the blogs, I think they get something out of it. The writing is, I believe in being clear, concise, and practical. So I like to give very practical, easy to use, and apply right away tips.
That's
And,
amazing.
for those who are starting the school year, I wish you the very best. God bless you. We can do this. I think it's just your mindset about it. We all feel, we all go through it. Even if you've been teaching for years, you may have that nervousness and, returning to the classroom post-pandemic. And with everything that's going on, like we discussed, the politics and the economics of it all, you can remain in control of your feelings and the climate of your classroom. So it's just about, the attitude that you bring to your classroom into the school year. That's just going to manifest itself. So you need to stay positive. That's what helps me. Just think of the positives and the great things that you can do for your students, if you're really intentional about it. And just like Carlene mentioned, giving them a voice, showing respect, and doing the best that you can, understanding your zone of control and doing the best that you can within it. So yeah, that's what I like to say. And I want to thank you so much, Carlene. I really appreciate you giving me the time and sharing your wisdom and your kindness to me. It's really, really appreciated. And hats off to you. You are an amazing leader as well.
Oh, thank you so much. That means so much to me. Yes, I when I saw your message come into me, I'm like, hey, I definitely want to do this. So
Oh, that's
it was also
awesome.
my pleasure. It was also my pleasure to meet you. I'm speaking to you for the first time. We've been messaging each other back and forth, but this is the first time, and I hope that this will not be the last time that we speak.
Me
That
too.
we'll continue to build our relationship and network with each other, right? We're both teachers. I'm teaching college, you're teaching kindergarten, but we're both teachers anyway. And we can still learn from each other and share wisdom with each other in one way or the other. So I look forward to our continued connection professionally. And who knows, it may turn into something personal as well. And I'm open and I welcome that if that's the case. So thank you so
Awesome.
much for spending the last hour or so with me. And I definitely wish you all the best and all success for the coming semester. Reach out if you need anything, and I'll definitely call upon you if I need it. Hey, you know what? One of my students is acting like a kindergartner. How should I
Yeah.
deal with this? should I deal with this? So, okay. And all right. And as you're building out your business as well, feel free to send me questions if you have something, if you feel stuck on any area. Let me know how I can be of assistance to you. I'd be happy to answer questions for you. All right.
Excellent. Thank
So I have been speaking with Abena Sey for the last hour from Fort McMurray, Alberta. She's looking forward to going back to school next week. And Abena is an educator like myself and an entrepreneur, and that excites me to the nth degree. I just love to see people using their gifts and their talents to actually make a living. I like it. I like it a lot. And not just making a living, it's the serving others part of it and serving in a purposeful way that makes it that more meaningful. So thank you, Abena. It's been a real pleasure. And I wish you all the best. This is Carlene Millwood from Carlene Millwood International, where I work with individuals and organizations to optimize their strategies to help them grow their business and move forward, and where we also do leadership development and turning business owners into business leaders. www.carlenemillwood.com for more information. I look forward to connecting with and hearing from you in the future. Thank you, everyone, and bye for now.